Hello everyone and welcome to City Skylines and welcome to a bit of a different episode. So started my computer this morning. My computer is a bit of a dud. It's a bit of a lemon. It's not the quickest one in the world. Recorded an episode and watched the footage back and it was just unwatchable. It was so laggy. So I have already ordered some new components. I thought they were going to come today, but then I realized I ordered them too late. So they're actually going to come tomorrow. So from next week on, we will have a normal episode of building a huge residential area in our beautiful city of Tassa Springs. But today I figured let's talk about some mods. In the very first episode that you can watch up here, I said that I would make a video about the mods that I use. And so here it is. Now, this is a vanilla build, meaning we are using only vanilla assets and I'm using no game-changing mods. The mods that I'm using are quality of life mods that make the quality of the game a little bit higher. Probably also why my computer can't really handle it, but I like my game to look good. And I like the videos to look good for you guys. So let's talk a little bit about what I would maybe controversially so call vanilla mods. Now, just to clarify, in this series, everything that you see us build, you can build on any gaming platform. So PC, console, Switch, whatever you like. So if we go into our options, we can take the first mod, which is, well, you can also take a look at the graphics I had. So all quality settings are set to the highest quality, resolution at 3840 by 2160. Full screen, of course. Depth of field is high, depth of field amount is low, and then film grain amount to 0. Now mods, the first mod you see is Speed Slider. This is a fantastic little mod that it just makes it easier to control the speed and have the speed of things go by a little bit more realistically. So it's this little thing you see down here. I have it always set to 60 because it just, for me, it feels like the cars and the pedestrians are moving at a more realistic speed, so they're not zooming about. It just slows the game down a little bit. If you set it at 100%, or in the big base game, it's 100%. Even at one speed, I feel like people are just zooming about. So with the speed slider, I can just slow that down a little bit, slow the game speed down a little bit. You can set it down to very, very low, which you may use for like a cinematic shot if you're doing a slow motion, which I have done before in one of my videos. It's good fun. You can also set it at 200%, so everything just whooshes by you at the speed of light. Moving on to the tree LOD Fix, which I have set to high. There is the ultra setting, but if I do that, I think my computer will burn and open a portal to hell, so I'm not going to do that. I leave it at high. When the new components are installed, maybe we'll put it at ultra. But basically, what is tree LOD Fix? So it's the trees. It means that you zoom out and the details don't disappear. So if you watch the undergrowth, for instance, here, these little grass or whatever you call it on the ground. If I zoom out, they will disappear. Boom. You see how they disappeared? That's because my tree lot is not at ultra. That would happen a lot earlier if we were playing in the base game. It also happens to fences and stuff that they disappear. You can also see it if you look at this forestry battery right here. These trees right here have a lot more detail in them than these. Now, if I zoom out a little bit, you see how that detail disappeared, and then we zoom in and it comes in. That's the tree lot. So the higher the tree lot fix is set at, the more detail you have, the further you're zoomed out. Basically, I think that makes sense. Less steam is the next mod I have installed. Now, this doesn't actually change anything in the game. It just means that when you boot up the game, it doesn't connect to Steam as much. I am no expert on this subject. I just, it improved performance, supposedly, and anything that improves performance is vital for me. Also, if you know of any other mods that could improve the performance without lowering the quality, let me know, because I'm interested. Ultimate Eye Candy is a big one for me. I use this a lot. So let me show you what that is. The UI looks like, come on, this. All right. So it controls the light, the weather, and the color. The light, you can change the global light intensity to be very bright. Also with the ambient light, so you can have your game run at super dark or super bright. All right. You can also change the position of the sun, the longitude and the latitude. Longitude, I'm not sure. Which is nice. If I'm detailing, for instance, I may change this around. If I have my camera facing, for instance, the back of these buildings, they're in the shade. So I can change that and say, whoop, give me light. And there it is. Super, super useful. You can also change the time of day in this one. And you can also change the speed of which the time of day goes by. So if I set it to 128%, you can see that the sun is just rotating like you wouldn't believe. It's absolutely whooshing about. Very, very useful. I use this also for cinematics. So if I do a shot of a sunrise or sunset, I'll set it to either 16 or 32 so that you see that magical sunrise or sunset in the shot as we're zooming about. You can also change the weather. You can add rain, a lot of it, or take it away. If you're in the snow map, that'll be snow. You can turn it off if you want. I've turned it on, but set the intensity to 0. You can also just turn it off. It also has a fog intensity slider where you can add more fog in your city. This doesn't do anything for me because I've actually turned fog off with another mod that we'll get to. You can switch between LUTs. So in the base game, you can also, through the settings, choose your LUT basically. So lookup table is the colors, which is this one in your actual options of the base game. Without this mod, you can do this. So tropical is the one I've set to. You can choose boreal, temperate, or European, which are the 4 types of maps that we have. So I can change it. If I put it on temperate, the game will look like that. I've found the best looking LUT for this particular map is the tropical one. So I'm using that. Of course, when you load up your game for the first time, you start a new city. You can set all your parameters to what you want, and then you can create a preset for it. So I have Tassa use this one because I also have Tassa Springs, and I'm too lazy to delete it. So this is the one I'm telling myself, use this one, not the other Tassa Springs. But yeah, and then you can just hit load it and boom, it'll reset or it'll load that preset. Super, super useful, super handy little mod. It also adds a little trick over here. So this button is normally your, this where you can buy squares. With the speed slider on, you can also right click to change it to night in an instant. Boom, there you go, it's night, which is super nice. It means I can position the sun exactly where I need it right before, for example, sunset or sunrise, and then do a cinematic shot of a sunset or sunrise. It's a small thing, but it just, it's the right thing, you know? Next one is no radioactive deserts, where you can turn on or off different things. So it's either dead trees around the shoreline, around polluted areas, fertility or fertile, or oil, forest, and burned area. Now, I have everything on, so none of all of it, except burn, because I find it only natural that, you know, when something burns down, it leaves a bit of scorched earth, right? As we know, in Tassa Springs, we have a few firehouses that do nothing. So yeah, we do have some fires, but basically I can't really stand the purple. It says orange in the mod description, but I'm to me it's purple. The purple ground pollution that the industry leaves is, and that's basically that. It makes the trees not be dead around industry or shorelines, and it makes the ground not be ugly. The ground not be ugly. Now, this is what I was talking about under Ultimate Eye Candy, the clouds and fog toggler, where you can see I've disabled all kinds of stuff except the edge fog. So I don't have clouds in this build because we're in the desert. Fair enough. I've also disabled the industrial smog because I hate it. And distance fog as well, I've disabled. Now I have disabled, I've left edge fog on, which is, you can also, the bitrate is probably terrible when I do this, but that's this sort of haze out here. I've left it on just because to not have too sharp of an end to the city, but I don't want the distance fog because I do want to see the distance. I find the maps in City Skylines beautiful, so I want to see them, not have them hide behind a cloud. Then we have Plop The Growables. Now, this is the one I use for detailing, for building any sort of repeated patterns, especially for car parking. So there's a few different options in here. If you're on a PC, install it, play around with them. This is how I've set it up for Tassa Springs. That's how it worked, what worked best for me. But let me show you an example, right? So these are 2x2 assets in the Green Cities DLC. On console, how you would do it is you would zone out opposite one another, 2x2, 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 2x2. You would wait for buildings to grow in, delete the ones that you don't want, and then make this Edison hypercharger historical, and then you play whack-a-mole, basically. And then once you have that in every block there, you can zone out the others and then play whack-a-mole again. Now, I don't mind doing that, but for videos, I use Plop The Growables and Find It to place that in, just in the interest of being a little bit faster and effective. The next one on the list is Harmony. This is just it's a must-have mandatory mod for some of the other mods. It needs Harmony to work. Then we have Control It, which is another one that's not necessarily in game, so you can control in the main menu before you enter a city. You have that main menu with some different blocks. You can turn off the news panel, for instance, the account panel and such, so you only have that middle one. It also restricts the network traffic, so improved performance. Again, you know, it improves performance. Daxto downloads it. Save My Ears is one that I recently found, actually. I still have to set it up right for me, but basically you can disable loud sounds or any sound that you don't want. Like in downtown areas with skyscrapers and stuff, when you zoom in, you might hear that like ding, 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 really, really loud. I've turned that one off because it's a bone killer. But it just makes it, if you're playing with like headphones on, you can make it so it doesn't break your ears, which for someone like me who plays City Skylines a lot, I like my ears and I want them to stay intact. Instant return to desktop is what it says. When you hit quit game and you quit to desktop, it will sit and load for a while before it actually, you know, quits to desktop. Now with this mod on, it just shuts down the game and you're on your desktop. And it's another one just in terms of speed and effectivity that I like. I like that mod a lot. Force Brush is a brush for trees. Great little mod. I don't use it nearly enough, but you have a bunch of different settings. You can build your own brushes, so you can choose a bunch of different trees, a tree palette, and then create a brush. And then basically you draw it in. You set your size of your brush and the strength. Basically how much volume of tree is placed within that circle. Like the landscape tool, how strong the effect of a click is, right? So I use this a lot for desert, for Tassa Springs. I have one specific set of trees that I use. For any other city or map, you may have other specific trees that you use. So you can set up your brushes and you know, paint forestry areas quickly. You also have a bunch of different, you can make like lines of trees, which could be useful if you're creating like a sapling fields or something like that. So you can have perfectly perpendicular trees. Great little mod. Highly recommended. Next on the list is Find It. So Find It is, you know, you can find things with it. This goes very much hand in hand with Plop The Growables. So you can go in and say, for instance, if I'm creating a car park, I would go into Growables, local and or commercial eco. You can set it to 2x2, and there you have the car park, and then you can plop it in, and it'll just be there if you have Plop The Growables on. Without Plop The Growables on, you just place this down, and this one will grow up when you hit when you play the game. With Plop The Growables on, it just plops it down. So I use this to create like repetitive patterns, like this car park or the Washington apartments that we have over here. This was created with that. A bunch of different things. My industry, I use this because if you just zone industry, it can become very, very ugly. So you can do all kinds of things with this. It also has a bunch of props that you won't have access to in the base game. So I stay away from these. In a modded city, I will use these for detailing. But basically you have access to anything that's in the content creator. Yeah, in the creator side where you can create assets. Asset creator, that's the one I was looking for. All right, and then next up we have dynamic resolution, which is you can up the quality of the game from what the base game offers. I have mine set to 300 right now. You can put it all the way up to 500%, which will explode my computer and the whole town. So I don't do that for now. I would like to have it at 500, but it even says settings above 300 may glitch or break the game, but it ups the quality and the look of the game. So I use this to just make it look better. Now, a big one that I use together, hand in hand, is Cinema Camera Extended and Camera Position Utility. I'll show you what these are. So these are the ones I use for cinematic shots. So you pick a spot where you want the shot to start. This is how we do these like sweeping shots, right? You pick a spot where you want the shot to start. You hit the plus button, and then you get this. So this is a point of reference for the camera to use. Starts with 0. You can change if it's in, out, or in and out, like if it'll bounce a little bit, or I leave it at auto always. You can choose the duration of it. For any cinematic that I use 15 always. You can change the field of view as well, which is the like what lens is using. So it's better if we do it like this. So it's like zoom lens or wide lens, right? It's embarrassing that I was struggling so much to find the word. I have a background in filmmaking. However, you can also futz around with the frames per second. So if you're doing a time lapse, for instance, you can have it move very, very slowly, and then you speed it up in post. So you get this like super smooth, long time lapse. I believe Biffa uses this quite a bit. But yeah, then so from there, you would go to your second spot, hit the plus again. I usually change this to 15. And now if you hit, I'll try it. It may break the game, but let's see. Or it may just be shoddy quality. But then the camera will sweep from 0.0 to 0.1. So 0.1 to 0.2, right? Like this. Cool. That is going to do it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this slightly different type of episode. If you did, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to follow along on the amazing journey of Tassa Springs, which will return to normal posting time next Monday. Until then, enjoy the rest of your day, evening, or night, and see you next time. Bye-bye.